when the armor we put on for protection becomes the very prison that we live in. This is The Becoming, a podcast about the sacred and powerful journey of awakening
Thank you so much
and becoming
for listening
who you
to The
truly
Becoming.
are. We'd love for you
We're
to
your
join
hosts,
our growing
Kate
community.
and Judy
Please
Moon.
subscribe to the
As a
podcast, share this
mother-daughter
episode
duo
with a friend,
many
and
years of
leave a
experience
5-star
in
review.
coaching and personal
It truly
transformation
means the world to us,
and lifetimes
and
of
helps
wisdom
others to
between
find their
us.
way here too.
Together,
We'll
we
see you
explore
in the
what
next
it truly
episode.
means to come alive, living with deeper meaning and purpose, breaking generational chains, reclaiming freedom, and guiding the soul's return to wholeness.
Through soulful conversations about healing, transformation, and the power of MDMA-assisted therapy, along with raw, behind-the-scenes reflections and insights that illuminate the path forward, we invite you into a journey that's not just about healing your past. It's about breaking through the invisible barriers that have kept you stuck and finally stepping into the life you've always known you were meant for.
Whether you're in the middle of a heartbreak, an awakening, a breakdown, or a breakthrough, you're not alone. This is The Becoming.
When the armor we put on for protection becomes the very prison that we live in. Over this last year, this is probably one of the most significant lessons that I have learned, not just through observing other people, but really experiencing this inside of myself. I've shared this on the podcast before, but in my first MDMA assisted journey, maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours in, I had a visceral experience of a shield of protection that was around my heart center and around really my entire being, like my whole energetic field lower. And I've equated it to the Death Star having the shield of protection around it that was deactivated. And it was so significant for me. And it wasn't just that moment of really feeling my heart for the first time, but when I went back into what we call the 3D, being in the 5D, which is sort of floating up there with, the souls coming back into the 3D experience, I was able to enter back into my life with this shield deactivated.
And you still had it down, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't need to lift it back up.
Well, and the wild part is that I never knew that it was there because it was literally the water that I swam in and the air that I breathed for my whole life. Somehow
it was normal for you.
It was put on so early. And it makes a lot of sense actually for me because one of my greatest pieces of curriculum for this life has been around vulnerability and how unsafe being vulnerable feels. And so once I had this experience for myself, I was able to then take this and apply this to all of the people around me. I started to see the world in a very different light. And I have really observed how we as human beings wear armor and protection to shield ourselves from pain, from judgment, from trauma, from really feeling the feelings of this human experience.
Of what it is to be human, criticism, blame, shame.
Yeah.
All the adjectives here.
And what I've really come to understand is that this is something that we all put on. It's like the masks that we wear, the armor and the shields that we put up, that we put these on so early on for protection. And then we forget that we're wearing them. It's like the invisibility cloak. And then it's so heavy, but we literally forget. We don't even know that it's there. We don't even feel the weight.
We build muscles to be able to hold it.
what it reminds me of is I've always heard when someone has like really long hair and then they get it cut off, they're like, oh my gosh, like it's so light. I just feel so light. That's exactly what it feels like when we finally drop the armor. And it's like, oh my gosh, I've been carrying this around and I had no idea.
Didn't even know it. And here's the thing. It's a protective mechanisms that human beings have learned to adopt.
Yeah.
I'm sure it protects the nervous system. Everything's all about the nervous system, right? That we use it. It's an energetic thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that is literally, obviously, it's not like a crab who has a shell around them.
Yeah.
It's an energy, but that we lift it up and perhaps don't even ever learn how to put it down. But we do that at will.
Mm-hmm.
And it serves us on one hand, but then it also puts us in our own prison.
Right.
If number one, if we're not aware of it, like you became aware of it, Kate.
Yeah.
And secondly, if we have so much armor that we don't even know who we are.
Right.
And our identity becomes that person with the armor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can look around in my own life around a lot of people and family members who literally learn to survive with a lot of armor. And they did not feel safe enough. And I'll speak about my dad. You know, he had a father who he always said that was a real son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And he was terrified of his father.
Yeah.
And as a little boy, when his father came home, down the driveway, I guess they must have had cars back then. I don't know, in the early 20s.
Born in 1923.
Oh,
they did.
A Ford.
A Ford.
A Ford. At any rate, when his father would come home, he literally would run underneath the dining room table.
Right.
And that was the safest place that he could find from his father and just try and be invisible. So you can imagine what a little boy then begins to learn is that I can't just live underneath this dining room table.
Right.
So I have to create some kind of protection.
Yeah.
And that's what this armor is.
Yeah.
We adjust to this world that we live in. And again, it can be an appropriate thing for safety to be able to use, an appropriate tool. But if one lives one's life with the armor up 100% of the time or most of the time, that's not living life.
It's really not. And again, we don't even know that we're doing it.
It's normal.
That's what has become so apparent to me over this last year as I have observed that this is probably one of my greatest lessons from inside of the medicine is the absolute power and the beauty of us when we soften, when our hearts begin to soften. Yeah. And I know that I've had a lot of people in my life reflect back that I do feel very softened. And
you've really changed, Kate.
No, it's really weird. You've really changed. That's so interesting.
Interesting, huh?
And
what have you been doing differently?
Tell me. And I also know that there have been places where I've actually gotten fiercer, which is what is really interesting.
But I would say that's appropriately so.
But it's not because I'm coming from protection or needing to be shielded. It's actually part of the full spectrum of the range that we are capable of as human beings.
Well, I would say that it's actually becoming more of your true identity.
Yeah.
To be able to, like the confidence that like when you need to be fiercer or you choose to be fiercer, you have more agency to be that. And you don't need to protect yourself. And whereas before, perhaps you didn't have the confidence as much to step into your authenticity.
And to that fierceness.
Fierceness.
So that authentic fierceness.
Yeah. Which is actually, that's the beauty of when we actually put the masks down.
It is.
Because we are being ourselves. But we're being ourselves coming from truth and authenticity. Not playing pretend. Not playing pretend, wearing the mask
In the costume party.
In the costume party, putting up the shield, and pretending that we have our shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Putting up this aura of that I have it all together.
A facade.
A facade.
Something that back in the day, my best friend and flatmate in Rome that we would talk about all of the time is what it is to be a bulletproof woman. But
Right.
she is someone who she's been through a lot in her life.
She's a bulletproof woman.
She's been through a lot.
Yeah.
She is incredibly independent, incredibly strong. She recognized, she's older than I am, and she recognized a kindred spirit when I was 20 years old, arriving with my 2 suitcases in Rome. And we would talk about this, about being bulletproof women. And even then recognizing like, this isn't necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you and I were just having this conversation about like, I know I was raised by a bulletproof woman. That's for sure.
You were.
I was.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You were not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although she was bulletproof in some ways.
In her own unique way.
Not in the way that you and I are, but and her bulletproof was emotional.
Yes.
That you could not get.
It was impenetrable.
It was impenetrable. And you couldn't penetrate it. Nor would she even be open to be curious about other people's emotions.
Right. Yeah.
For example, her daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
And probably other people in her life that were significant as well.
I would say so.
Yeah. So something that you and I see, because we work with a lot of very powerful women.
A lot of bulletproof women.
Yeah.
So, hi. I'm Judy.
Hi, Judy.
I'm a bulletproof woman.
Hi, Judy. Yeah.
And the good news is that once we become aware of our defenses and where we are cutting ourselves off from being vulnerable because of a lot of different reasons, just the awareness, we begin to be able to choose when we might risk perhaps letting down some of that shield and being more vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Being who we are. That's authenticity.
Yeah.
I mean, being really truly who we are and not afraid to show up that way in the world. Not that we have to pretzel ourselves to please everybody else or that we're not good enough.
I think that this also comes down to an identity that we had to form in order to survive. And that identity is of being bulletproof, which means that nothing can penetrate me. Things can come in from the outside. There can be a barrage of things that are thrown my way and I'm fine. So this is when we're talking about like hyper independence, when we're talking about women that are extremely capable. I mean, I think both of us would really relate to that over our lifetimes, you and I, we get shit done. We're incredibly capable. You and I have both been very independent. And the thing that we don't necessarily recognize, like those are all traits that our society praises, but we don't necessarily realize that those can be trauma responses. Hyper independence, capability.
Oh, can be?
Hello.
They are. That's the truth. I mean,
and a lot of this is like, I can't trust other people. So I'm going to handle all of this in-house. I've got it. I've got it right here.
I have my shit together.
Yeah.
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 Like I'm handling it because I can't trust other people to do it perhaps even as well as I do it.
Or at all. Or I can't trust people, period.
Period. Yeah.
And a lot of these, again, can be really subconscious.
Can be. I think they're mostly.
Well, no, what I mean is that there was a time that I was somewhat aware of, like, I was aware that I was a very independent woman and that I struggled with vulnerability. So it's not like I was completely unaware of this, but honestly, I probably would have gone to my grave holding people at bay in my life and holding on to my independence, like having my independence keep me warm at night. here all by myself
for the rest of your life.
If I didn't have this encounter with MDMA that opened up a whole other somatic universe for me.
Well, I know that I actually took pride in being bulletproof.
Yeah.
Because
me too, lady.
Yeah,
me too.
Because I began to get accolades from the outside
That's so
of
interesting.
me.
Yeah.
That, because I had gone through some really tough things. And even my parents, Judy, my dad used to call me Barney. Barney. Yeah. And it was like, oh, kind of for the first time, I felt like I was seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was seen as strong and bulletproof. I don't know if they ever use the word bulletproof, but I felt strong.
Yeah.
And so I leaned into that persona. And I have been, to be honest, I've gone through some things, and I was very strong through it. I didn't fall apart. I think the vulnerability had to do with the grief part, which is accepted in our culture.
Yeah.
But just being able to handle stuff and not fall apart was something that it became my identity.
Exactly.
It became my identity. And for the first time, I was actually really seen by my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And they liked it. And so it just continued.
It's more comfortable for them. They don't need to worry about you because you've got it.
Judy, you've got your stuff together.
Yeah.
You've got it.
But did you totally, is there any room for you to be human, for you to grieve, for you to, have that
not really
sad weeping heart, which
not
would
really.
be appropriate?
Not really.
Right.
Not really. And there was one time that I did, and I was punished for it. Remember the whole Boston thing?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, you were punished until everybody died.
Till everybody died, literally. Okay, so
and not everybody involved is dead yet. And you're still getting punished. I'm sorry, you just are.
I know. I think we've got to tell the story just briefly.
Great, let's do it.
Okay, so I was living in Santa Fe at the time, and
this is early
Kate,
2000s.
You were headed to. The two of us had already gone to our first trip in Italy.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
Kate, you entered Italy and you said,
I need to live here.
I'm going to figure out what I'm going to major in so it works, so it makes sense.
There seems to be an abundance of art here. I think if I studied that, I can come back.
And that's what you did. You had already had your freshman year in college,
yep.
And this was going to be, you were going to return to sophomore year, and then it would be just your junior year.
So I clarified, my major was going to be art history
exactly.
in sophomore year. I was studying that here in the U.S.
And studying some Italian.
Yep. And then planning on my junior year abroad.
And so I had been divorced, I don't know how many years at that point, maybe 4?
Yeah.
About 4 years. Yeah. And I was itchy scratchy anyway, to be honest, here in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
I felt
you were hospice nursing.
I was hospice nursing, and I could see my future, that if I stayed here, my future was going to look pretty much like it did today.
Yeah.
Not this day, but then.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's just going to be more or less the same trajectory.
Yeah. And so, God, so at any rate,
you're always up for an adventure.
I'm always up for an adventure. So I had this idea that you were going to head to Italy, and I was going to relocate to Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'd gone to Boston University. Cambridge is kind of a hip place, and I thought, I kind of might go for kind of a city vibe.
And you lived outside of Boston in Concord.
Yeah, I mean, that's where Matthew and Andrew were both born. So that's, like a half hour, 45 minutes away. And so I was familiar with it.
Yeah.
And my family lived there.
Yeah.
My mom and dad, they were on the East Coast in Florida. My sister was in Ithaca, New York, but she had a place at the Cape too. So it was familiar.
Kind of just made sense.
You
had roots there.
I had roots there.
Ties
I had this idea in my head that it would be like a really awesome thing.
Well, and it was okay, I've been in Santa Fe now for decades, and this whole chapter is coming to a close. I graduated from high school. I was in college. I was leaving.
Yeah.
And
what was tethering me still to Santa Fe?
And like, you and I are always in the question of what's seeking to emerge. I mean, even then when we knew nothing.
When we knew nothing.
Snow.
Jon Snow. I know. What is seeking to emerge? And so this was an adventure. And I remember the two of us, we hopped on an airplane and we visited Boston or Cambridge and found a house.
Yeah.
Found a really cute,
an adorable house.
An adorable.
I know.
Adorable house that needed a little work, but at any rate, we did it.
It was like, oh my God, moving to the big city.
Moving into the big city in Cambridge and hopping on the
T.
And
yeah.
Anyway.
So before I left for Italy, we moved there
together
in the summer. The idea was that I was going to launch from Boston.
And that was at the end of May. Mm-hmm. May that we moved there. Yep. And you were to head to Italy
in the fall.
In August, actually. Mm-hmm. So we got there. And
so what happened, Jutes?
Well, we redid a bathroom. We didn't do it. We hired somebody to do that.
That was a great bathroom.
It was it was the best bathroom maybe I have ever had.
I know. It was painted. We painted it lilac, which maybe sounds hideous.
Well, it was kind of a blue lilac.
It was beautiful.
It was called A Pleasant Place.
I remember paint swatches.
A pleasant place. Anyway.
We digress.
We do. We love to digress. But at any rate, I remember, here it was. I knew I was going to have to get a job, and I was going to be looking for a nursing job. Yeah. So I got on the T at Porter Square. Mm-hmm. And you have to go down, I don't know, God, it feels like a mile down there, but I mean, how far down?
Oh, it's probably like at least 3 stories.
Yeah.
Down an escalator
down
that just goes
into the darkest, deepest place.
You're going down to Hades.
You go down to Hades, and it literally was Hades.
Yeah.
And I got on that T, and I went to this job fair, and I thought, oh my God, like, what am I doing? And I was sitting there waiting for the subway to come. And I looked up, and there was a billboard of not a woman, a girl, woman-ish, mid, not too much older than me, or younger than me. And she was running. She had sneakers on, shorts, running up a mountain. And I was like, what did I do? It was such a gut wrench.
Wow.
And it was devastating because I had left my beloved Santa Fe, my mountains that I hiked up regularly with my 2 dogs, Zora and Titan. They were my buds. And we would go up there several times a week. And Atalaya is the place where I work through all of my angst, all of my processing. What am I doing in my life? Looking up at the mountains and the sky. I mean, it was everything to me.
And here we are almost 20 years later. And P.S., if you follow either of us on social media, and if you ever see us outside,
that's where we are.
Welcome to Atalaya. That's where we live.
Atalaya. Yeah. So at any rate, I was devastated. I was heartbroken, and I came back. And I don't think I mentioned it to you at the time. I was terrified to even tell you the truth. Basically, I mean, I fell apart. That was the first time that's the first time you saw me fall apart.
I had basically never seen you cry. So let's just circle back to Bulletproof, guys. Other than maybe in a movie, mm-hmm. I actually don't know if at that time I turned 20 there. Mm-hmm. I don't know that in 20 years of life I had ever really seen you cry. Maybe once or twice outside of, crying at a sad movie.
Yeah. And I don't know what I would have.
You were very, very bulletproof. You were always had your shit together in every way. Yeah. And you had a full-on breakdown.
And I was holding it all together too, Kate.
I know.
An unhappy marriage and a family and the whole thing.
And the stress of it all.
Yeah. So I had a breakdown. Yeah. And I remember whispering to a dear friend on the phone from Santa Fe, and he said, Judy, you need drugs. He said, I'm going to send some lorazepam. That's an anti-anxiety and an antidepressant in the mail today. And you'll get it. I was like, oh, please.
That is a good friend.
A really dear friend. At any rate, long story short, I had to, had to share this with you. And I had decided and I was like curled up in a ball in my bed and really couldn't even move, couldn't sleep.
You couldn't eat.
I couldn't eat.
I remember trying to feed you, like bringing food, and you were not interested.
I've never,
no,
that has never happened to me before.
No,
ever.
No, I mean, your whole body had a physiological like panic response to this.
And I think that was a Friday that I spoke to my dear friend Kevin, and it wasn't until Monday morning, ding dong.
It's like, how do I get through this weekend?
How do I get through these days? I didn't know how to get through, and I don't know. And the reason why I'm really sharing this, because I know that I cannot be the only human being on this planet who has gone through a devastation that I literally created myself just by making a new choice that I had no idea I was going to respond in that way. I had no idea. And anyway, I remember just taking that first little lorazepam, and I could breathe, and okay, I got up vertical.
Yeah.
And I started just like, okay, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And so, that bulletproof girl is still in there, but she needed a little help from her friends. I know.
Lorazepam.
Lorazepam, and little antidepressant, whatever it was. This is the thing about families. There's some unspoken rules in families, and I don't want to digress, but it's just the truth. And there was an unspoken rule that Judy had her shit together, and my parents were coming to visit for just like a couple of days, and then we're all headed down to the Cape to stay and hang out with my sister and her family. And I had fallen apart, and I said, can you please come by before you go to the Cape? I got to tell you, I got to talk. And I said, I can't, I am unable to stay here. I need to sell this place, and I need to go back to Santa Fe immediately. And they were just, it was like the horrible thing. But
you broke all the family rules.
Yeah. And then going to the Cape, it even became worse. Yeah. And I'll just be very transparent.
Yeah.
That there was some triangulation going on with our family.
Yeah.
And my sister had a real opinion about what I was doing. And sometimes when we're at our lowest, some people who might have some issues with us use that opportunity to hit below the belt. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what happened. Yeah. So, back to the whole conversation about vulnerability.
Sometimes we literally have evidence that it's not safe. Like if we ever even had a hiccup moment where like our soft underbelly shows, people have come in and actually taken advantage of that and really hit below the belt. Yes. So it's like, oh, can't ever do that again.
Can't ever do that again. So, my strong self, my bulletproof self, I went back to Boston, to Cambridge, painted a garage door, got some things, and I put it on the market.
Redid a bathroom in like half a minute.
In half a minute, and got the place ready. Literally within a week and a half, we put it on the market, and it sold immediately. Immediately. Well, we got in the car. All I remember from this is like driving, the reverse route just a few months later. Oh my God.
The two Labradors in the back of the Subaru Outback. And they've been such good eggs on the whole drive to Boston.
And we're talking like a good 3 days
in the car. And so now we're repeating this on the way back. And all I remember is sweet little yellow lab Titan putting his head over the back of the seat and just giving us a look like, you have got to be kidding me.
Oh my God, here we are again.
Well, we got back to Santa Fe, and I think I had like 2 weeks before I was going to Italy.
And so I said bye-bye to Katie girl.
I know. Yeah. But the thing that I do remember, and I wasn't around for all of it because at that point I was creating a new life in Italy.
Living your best life in Italy.
but you were so freaking punished for years and years and years for moving and then moving.
Yeah.
That was really, I mean, if you really look at what you did, you made a decision, you rallied the troops around that decision, you moved, you got settled, and you said, this isn't for me.
This
I'm
is
going
not
to,
it.
and actually, you know, and these are the things where like the story of, you know, like the worst crime that's ever been committed. You know, sometimes you gotta like look at this and reframe stuff a little bit and be like, well, this is also a super badass woman who rallied out of like one of the lowest places that you had been in your life. Like,
And I didn't feel like that super
no,
super badass woman at all. I was made to feel ashamed.
The way that everybody treated you, it really was like you were a criminal.
No, I mean, it was really, really, it was really hard.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. So somewhere along the line, I learned that I needed to be a certain way.
Right.
So like, who did I need to be for my parents?
In order to exist in the family rules.
Yeah, to exist in those family rules. And it evidently was to be completely bulletproof and not vulnerable.
Right.
And not ever make, quote unquote, a mistake.
A misstep, a mistake,
and so,
a wrong turn.
And here's the thing.
That sounds real human. That seems real possible. Like a
a
worthy goal in life.
But Kate, you know, wasn't really truly a mistake. See, this is the thing that I come to now.
Yeah.
It was just information.
Right.
It was an experience. And I actually learned a lot about my family through that experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You and it learned about yourself.
I was going to say, and it grew me.
Yeah, it did.
That experience really grew me. And I would not be who I am today if I had not had that experience, and then many after that.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's my philosophy of life, that we go through experiences to grow us, not to punish us.
Right.
And many of us grow up in families where we learn that we have to be a certain way. We have to show up a certain way. We have to become someone who we really maybe aren't to be loved.
Yeah.
And so we have to be bulletproof, and we put up a shield for protection.
And so when we begin the journey of dismantling that shield, taking the armor off one piece at a time, I always think of Athena. She's always the image.
She's the badass.
She's the badass, but you know, she starts taking like the breastplate comes off and like the huge like gladiator style helmet comes off.
Yeah.
And the truth of it is that there is so much strength inside of our vulnerability that it actually is our greatest superpower. Yeah. And it is something that makes the world at large uncomfortable.
I will say that vulnerability is actually my greatest superpower. And empathy is my greatest superpower.
Yeah.
And I know that's you too, Kate.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
And so what we've learned over time is that it's not necessarily unsafe for us to begin to remove the shield. You really, one fell swoop. Whew. And you can always pick it up anytime you need it. But
I mean, I don't feel the
you don't need
to. I have other ways of actually staying safe.
You do.
Some of that can be real direct communication. I've discovered a superpower in myself of how I communicate with people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's been something that I actually needed to develop after my shield came down.
Yes.
And that I've really stepped into in this last year. I've had some real uncomfortable conversations where I really stood up for myself, but I didn't need to close my heart in order to do that.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
What a gift.
So really, the reason that we wanted to bring this onto the podcast today and to have this conversation is that, you know, it's so funny, Judes, because now looking back, having worked with people in coaching for 12 years and then having our own experiences with MDMA and then starting to work with people inside of MDMA for the last year plus, it really feels like it's awesome.
It's awesome.
But what's so awesome about it is that it's like we have pulled the veil back and we really are seeing behind the curtain. So what, you know, whether that's Wizard of Oz, seeing behind the curtain, or it's like X-ray vision. I look back on clients over the years, and I'm like, wow, like these wildly
That's what was going
incredible,
on.
independent, very capable, smart, high achieving women. And oh my gosh, I didn't even know that what I was looking at was this woman's shield and all the things that were going on and bubbling up under the surface that were completely invisible to them and to me. And so now I can see all of this. And this is what we work with all of our clients around, and to see them soften and to see their hearts open, to see them discover inside of themselves, oh my gosh, I have this well of love that is the most powerful force in the universe that has been hidden to me my whole life.
Well, Kate, that's the most powerful piece, that they get to see it. We witness it, but they get to not only see it, but they get to, you're getting
literally
the chills.
gives me chills.
I know, but they get to experience it, and they not only experience it, they embody it. And when we embody it, that's who we become, that's who we are, and we get to live it out. And
it becomes our greatest strength. We don't need to be protected behind this wall of armor that really is a prison. We put all of that down. We put the weight of that down, and the lightness that
it's
comes
the weight
with
of a
that.
lifetime.
It is. But then who we get to be in this world, we're talking about the becoming. This is the becoming. The journey of a lifetime of becoming, that who they be then with their spouse, with their children, with the work that they do in the world as a much more loving, open-hearted, but actually truly, instead of faking strength through armor, they actually are strong. It just is, it bubbles up from the core of their being.
It's the being. If they be it. They are it. If there's no pretend, it's just, and so that becomes the air that they breathe,
the new normal,
the water that they swim in, the new normal. I remember years ago here in Santa Fe working and studying with Roshi Joan Halifax, who is the Zen priest here in Santa Fe at the Buddhist Center. And
the Upaya Zen Center.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
We actually did a yoga teacher training there, Kate.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
And she's really world renowned in the death and dying movement.
And that's why I studied with her. Yeah. But at any rate, she would always say, strong back, soft heart.
Yeah.
And that is just such a reminder for all of us that we can hold the strength and the vulnerability at the same time, that really is a possibility to do that, and that we can stay safe in that heart space with that strong back.
What if we have been misinformed all along about what safety is, and what if our true strength is in having an open heart and a vulnerable
soft heart.
Vulnerable soft heart. Yeah. And what if it's not in the armor? The armor is actually fake. The armor isn't real. The armor is the mask.
It cuts us off from life and from love.
So our invitation here today is simply to notice what you're noticing, as always.
Yeah.
The number one awareness tool is notice what you're noticing. Begin to just explore this for yourself. Where perhaps are you still wearing the armor because it maybe doesn't feel safe to put it down? And does it still need to be there? Does it still need to exist? Could there perhaps be strength in a different area? And where might you want to begin to soften and open your heart in a different way?
And how might my life look and feel differently, and my relationships look and feel differently? How might I grow myself to be able to open my heart, have a soft heart, and remain with that strong back, and remain safe without the armor? That's our invitation today, to consider the possibilities.
Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation of the becoming. We'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one. Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
Thank you so much for listening to The Becoming.
We'd love for you to join our growing community. Please subscribe to the podcast, share this episode with a friend, and leave a 5-star review.
It truly means the world to us and helps others to find their way here too. We'll see you in the next episode.